So what has been, uh, what is one challenge, even COVID or not, what is one challenge right now that is current for writers that you're seeing? With common, like as we talked about the analogy of driving the car. So let's use that
Yeah.
same analogy. They get out the car, they're driving it. What is the first thing that you notice that they need to fix?
Yeah, it depends on, there's so many different types of authors, but there is, and Bill will be able to speak to this. There's the author who they would like to be able to write full time. They'd like to be a full-time writer. They'd like to be producing books of fiction or nonfiction or poetry or all three or personal stories or whatnot. And yet they're also working full time, and they might have a family, or they might be caring for an elderly parent, or they might, who knows, right? There's something. There's something going on. And so, where do they find the time to write? Because writing a book is not a simple undertaking, right? It's like climbing a mountain. There are many, many steps you have to keep going. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so making that transition, like getting that first couple, because you don't publish one book and become a superstar author and make billions of dollars and quit your day job and sit by the beach and write every morning, right?
What?
No, you don't. It's shocking, I know. And so it's that struggle of like getting from like leaving a job and getting to a place where you can write. And I know some people do it in retirement. Some people, they set aside a certain amount of time each week to do that. But I think that can be a huge hurdle for people who want to write and who want to do it in a more, some people don't always make all of their money from it, but they want something back from it. And Bill, you were talking about the leap you made, so maybe you want to talk a little bit about that. There's that transition time, right? Where what do I do? How do I make that leap, right? And still feed my family.
In my situation, I was fortunate in that we're a 2-income household. So it wasn't as though it was either earn or not earn. So there was a transition there that was easier, and I appreciate that's easier than some. But for those of us that are making that leap, there was still that period of time. Okay, you're writing when you're not working or raising your family. In other words, I'm going to get by with a few hours less sleep each night if this particular goal is that important to me. And that is part of that process. My Gone Viking, a Travel Saga, that was an 8-year project. So it's not something you're banging out. And I do enjoy and learn from some of the online workshops that the Amazon self-publishing offers. But invariably, I find many of these folks banging out a book a month. And that part of me thinks that's admirable, and part of me thinks, I suspect that's rubbish, but it's not always. That's not fair. If someone has a very high daily word count and they can in fact monetize their writing, because there's readers that love that stuff, and I'm generalizing and painting with a terribly wide brush, but I also know so many of my peers and friends who I admire and are writing very good literary content. That stuff ain't coming out on a book a month kind of a basis. So then for those of us making that transition, you're finding outlets, magazines, journals. Where can I scrape together some dollars and get my stuff out there and build that audience and make these connections with readers? Because at the end of the day, if folks are enjoying an article, perhaps through Writers Union or Canadian Authors Association or Author Nation and other trade journals and literary journals, invariably these are going to be folks that want to buy your books down the road. So it's all about that nice connection and networking. That helped a lot in making that leap to full-time writing and writing income.